Right, so we say children live what they learn, so then that therefore begs the question, how much influence will the early stage of parenting play in your child's adult years? Our Once Upon a Time co-host, clinical therapist, Dr. Karen Carpenter joins us now. She's stepped away for a little bit, hasn't been to visit, but don't write, don't call, but we're not vexed. She's here to talk us through the parent-child relationship and how, one can influence the other negatively or positively. Hey there, Doc. How you doing? It's good to see you
both.
Morning.
I get both of my favorite people in the same place, so that's good. Aww.
We bed too. We feel so good. Honored.
There's
Boy,
so much discussion
I don't
happening
know
now,
where to
Doc.
start.
Maybe it's a good thing.
Yes.
Because more and more we're talking about parenting and things that happen to children. Boy, it's a lot though.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But I think, as you said, Delia, it's very important that we're having the conversation at all, because I think there has been an assumption that by divine right, all parents know what to do in parenting, and that all our children will come to us as people we like or want to love or feel close to. And there are different reactions that parents and children have, even at birth.
Yeah.
And if you've had kids or been around kids or raised kids, you know that every one of them is different.
Yep.
Yeah, and what we call the goodness of fit model in developmental psychology is what we look for. So a child who is more like the temperament of the parent is going to be a better goodness of fit
Yeah.
than a child whose temperament is different. And there's some kids that are slow to warm up, some kids are easy to warm up, others cry endlessly, and it depends on the interaction of those two temperaments and personality, because a kid's personality is formed by the time they're about 7 or 8. So we talk about temperament at first. So the child has a temperament, and as they grow up, they develop a personality. And a parent has to be able to interact with that personality well.
And no two parents can raise their children alike, as you said, because all parents' circumstances
Every parent is different.
are different.
Yeah. And parents are human beings. We keep forgetting that.
Yeah.
They're not gods, and they don't have some divine knowledge because they went through childbirth. A mother doesn't instinctively know what to do other than care, immediate care, as in feeding and changing. But it doesn't mean that they have the information they need to help bring up someone in the 21st century.
So tell me about the influence at parenting, and I guess in this case we're talking about mothers. I don't know if it's because it's Mother's Day, or maybe we can look at
Mother's
the
Day is
fathers
coming up, and it is Child Month.
Is there a difference between a mother-daughter relationship gone awry and the impact that has on the daughter, as opposed to a father-daughter?
I would say it depends on the role either parent plays in the family
raising of the
already.
child. Okay.
Yes, because there's already a dynamic between that couple when the children arrive. And that couple now has a third less time to spend with each other. So whatever they've formulated before the kids came along, they now use that and interact with the children. And children learn a lot by modeling.
Yeah.
Modeling is when the parents behave in a particular way with each other. The children learn that faster than what you tell them. Because that's being repeated over and over and over. So you can't say to the child, don't shout, and you're shouting at mommy and daddy. That's not going to work. They're going to shout.
I want to go back to something you said though, Karen, in terms of people thinking by some divine thing, mothers. Because in our mind, women should naturally want to be mothers. Once you become a mother, your maternal instinct is to kick in, and you're supposed to do things a particular way.
Biological clock have to.
But there really are women who just don't know how to mother.
I don't want to.
And models, yes, and don't want to. Models of mothering and fathering change across the world,
Yeah.
Different cultures have different ideas and ideals of what's the perfect mother, the perfect father. But let's look at that notion about the biological imperative. How old is that? How long have we been thinking that women have some kind of instinctual need to have children? I think that that's something that science will debunk. I don't think it's an instinctual need. I think it's a biological imperative. We are born with wombs.
That's our cultural
Therefore,
framework.
biologically, if we don't carry the children, no one will. If men were born with wombs, I doubt very much that we'd be saying these things. We'd be saying it's a choice to have a child. I don't know that there's any natural instinct. Culture tells us you should have children and you should have them by a certain time. Why is it in more advanced cultures people have children later? Is it that their biological clock is slower?
But the same for parenting, because a lot of, and we've seen lately in the news and in the social media that a lot of mothers have come up for criticism, some have come up for sympathy, empathy. What's your take on this? Are we now just realizing that mothers are human and that a lot of mothers in Jamaica struggle with the idea of parenting and effective parenting?
I think we're coming round, especially as we go through this year into 2020, to a point where we're seeing women as human. I don't think it's about mothers alone, because even the notion that women have a choice about whether or not they want to become a mother is something that we're slowly accepting. And it's very slow. And if women in the spotlight don't speak up, don't actually put themselves forward and say, no, it wasn't a natural instinct for me. No, I didn't want to. Or, you know, I had a choice. And it's not because I dislike children, then others don't get the permission to do it. So I think we're coming around to it.
Some want to do, Karen, you know, some want to.
Oh, I do agree, and I think there are enough that want to.
But still, having had the child, some decisions that are made, you know, because even now we see a lot of missing girls, a lot of missing young girls, and people will say, oh, when they are found, people say, oh, it's run off because them want to go find man.
Yes.
How do we navigate situations like that?
You know, Delia, what I've been thinking about as I was making my way here is not so much when they run off, because we've put in place lots of agencies. We've put in place lots of child protection laws, enforcement, and a culture among men that speaks to men protecting children and girls and women. We don't as yet have that culture, in the sense that, and I mean, kudos to all the men who do well, but we have far too many men who are predators. Far too many men who think it's okay to sleep with a child. Far too many pedophiles in the society, and they're not being treated. Simply to arrest the person doesn't help. When they've served their term, they're going to be back out in the society, and it is their predilection. In other words, it is their choice, their preference. They're attracted to.
Recidivism is high.
Exactly.
Go right back to it.
They're attracted to children. So what is it that we are applauding in our men, those who are doing it, that doesn't make them protect and return a girl child that they find missing from our home, but rather have sex with that child, have that child get pregnant, and then continue to feel that they've done something good? What is it that we are telling men it's okay about?
And what is it that we're telling our girls? Because when it happens, we lay the blame.
We lay the blame on the woman at all times. It's a mother, it's a grandmother, it's a girl. This is a child. So we have to, as a society, take greater responsibility for how we raise our men, and we have to enforce the laws, but the laws also have to be just. So one of the arguments we've been hearing lately is, if you report the man, then who takes care of the child?
Yes.
Well, I think you need to report the man. I think the man has to face a penalty, but I think he also has to have treatment, and he has to have social work that allows him to pay for the child's upkeep. Because in other parts of the world, prison terms don't mean being locked up and fed.
Right.
They mean being a productive part of society whilst incarcerated. So I think we have to look at how we deal with that.
Put them to work and take the money and support the child.
Absolutely.
So the kids who are raised become adults with issues. There's a notion that when you get to a certain age in your life, you must be able to make choices.
Yes.
Either choose
Absolutely.
to live how your parents raised you or choose to do differently. Is that something that you can really break away from when you get to adulthood? The notion that you're supposed to all of a sudden just, you know, relieve yourself of all this baggage.
Well, honestly, it's not sudden, as you know, Simone. And psychology and psychiatry wouldn't exist if people couldn't change. Now, some conditions are harder to change, like pedophilia, for instance. We don't cure pedophilia. There's no cure for pedophilia. So we have to take other measures, like chemical castration and reprogramming and restrictions and bracelets and monitoring. If we're going to keep pedophiles alive in a society, we've got to monitor them. We've got to put them on a list. We've got to report them.
We need a registry.
This is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous practice, right? So for the others who've come through multiple issues, which we all come through some issues, there's always hope. Psychology and psychiatry offers us hope because people can learn behavior change. If you want to change a particular aspect of your life, you may not know how to do it, but there's always help in getting that change effected. So first it takes a willingness of the individual. After a certain age, 18 and over, we don't have the right to make someone change. So we have to do our best. Yeah, they have to want to. They have to be highly motivated. But many people have overcome their circumstances.
And that's what I want
many success
people
stories
to take away from this morning. Because there are people watching you saying, really, Doc, the amount of things I've been through, who are living with this baggage every day, and it's wearing them down.
I understand, and particularly as we see it playing out in relationships, because as you say, the cycle continues. So that mother who was abused or in an abusive situation as a child becomes an abusing parent. Most people who abuse were abused themselves. Most of them.
Most.
It's not a novel idea that they come up with. Suddenly they say, oh my goodness, I want to abuse somebody. No, they were abused and they understand this as love. And it becomes familiar to them, so they seek it out. But as I say, there is help. And one of the opportunities they have for getting help is the university hospital. And we also have a sexology clinic there where we deal with relationship issues. So when you are in that abusive situation or the abuser yourself, come and get the help. And that's at UWI every other Friday. We've been doing this for 9 years.
Wow.
Where we're open to the public. It's a free clinic. You pay a small registration fee, and if you don't have the fee, we don't turn you away. So every other Friday. And they can text 876-275-7961. That's 876-275-7961. It is free. And if you're in crisis, pick up the phone, text us, and we'll respond. We need more of those.
Children live what they learn. But the cycle can be broken.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. That's the takeaway. Good to see you.
Same here.
You should come by more often.
Yes,
Not sure
absolutely.
why you're so busy and treat us so bad.
She get too busy.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. Rich and Switch. Clinical therapist, Dr. Karen Carpenter, with us this morning. We'll take a break on Smile. There is more on the other side. So come.
Yeah.